Welcome everyone, it's that special time of the week again. It's time for another installment of Cape TV. As always, I am joined by my co-host Matt.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, and this week, guess what? The group here on Cape TV got a little bit bigger. We got a new friend joining us this time. It's over. Yeah, you know her, you like her. Yeah, you've seen her on the other shows. It's Caitlin ThatCmonster, everybody.
Hey guys!
Yes, that's right. It's a three-person show this week on Cape TV, which means we have even more shows to cover this week. We've all tried to see as much as we can, but, some have seen some stuff, some haven't. And that's kind of always how I wanted Cape TV to be, because, not everyone can watch everything that comes out every week. But, with a cast like this, we can kind of help fill in the blanks. As always, I like to start off talking about Supergirl. This was Season 2, Episode 11, The Martian Chronicles. And I'm going to throw things over to the Superman expert in the room. Matt, tell me about The Martian Chronicles.
Okay, so as the title suggests, it was all about Martian Manhunter and Miss Martian and them dealing with the white Martians who have come after Miss Martian because reasons. No, she obviously helped the green Martians on Mars, so they need some type of reconciliation with her in the form of killing her, basically.
Ain't that always the way?
It was a really cool episode. It became a little bit like The Thing at certain parts because they end up in the DEO and the Martian is one of the people in the DEO. They don't know who, so they got to do the fire test with the fire and everything. And it was a pretty cool episode. I really enjoyed it.
There is so much cool untapped potential with the Martians in the DC universe. I'm glad to see them kind of get more focus here on Supergirl of all shows.
Yeah, definitely. I remember when Martian Manhunter first came on the show, I didn't expect someone like him to be on a TV show and done really well with the CGI and the practical effects and everything. But it looks like also at the end of this episode that Miss Martian is leaving the show.
Aww.
I think she's kind of going away. So, but she might come back. She might come back, but yeah, she's kind of leaving this episode. So I don't think she'll be in the next couple of episodes.
One thing that I've really been enjoying about Supergirl is the fact that they've been doing the effects so well. So it doesn't come across as, overly cheesy. You can still have that kind of suspension of disbelief. And then on top of that, the stories are done so well and they seem to echo the comics in a really great way. And I how the two are coinciding together really well. So like if you got into Supergirl because you love the TV show, if you go and pick up Supergirl Rebirth, you'll be able to sort of get absorbed and go along with it without really missing a beat.
Yeah, the comic is very much like the TV show at the moment.
Yeah, except for the representation of feet. Just not for all the feet, man. It gets me. Open up a copy of Supergirl Rebirth right now. And while Supergirl is in a panel flying, look at her feet. Just look at them.
Some people have trouble with feet.
It destroys my ability to disbelieve.
So what you're saying is this was a strong one, good use of all the alien characters and everything?
Yeah, totally. And next week's episode, the little teaser we got at the end of this week's episode has me hyped for next week's episode.
Yes, next week's episode is called Luthors, and they were sure to show off the frickin' Lex Luthor Kryptonian battlecsuit.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know why. Hang on.
Oh, podcast flub. Something about bacon butter. What about the bacon butter? I need to know now. Do Martians love bacon butter?
No, they love Oreos.
I wanted to look up this, I was trying to look up Supergirl's feet.
You ended up looking up bacon butter.
So that I could show you guys what I was talking about.
Nice.
And the image I clicked on had an advertisement on it. And it was like, Jack in the Cracks bacon butter.
I'm really happy, Matt, that the biggest flub here on Cape TV didn't belong to me. I'm happy about this.
Does this surpass your stroke out last week?
That was pretty bad when I couldn't figure out an end to the episode. Like, say Cape Joel channel time, play that, whatever.
The newscaster strokeout's definitely a classic.
Oh yeah, I was running on fumes at that point. So yeah, Supergirl was pretty tight, everybody, from what I understand. You mentioned Oreos, Matt. Do they bring the Oreo stuff into the show? Do the Martians in the show love Oreos?
I think like there's been like a couple of lines where he's referenced like eating cookies and stuff, but I don't think they can say Oreos or Hydrox.
Right, because it's a name brand. They didn't get the sponsorship deal. That's a missed opportunity there. That Oreos wouldn't want to back a Martian show.
I feel like Oreos really lost it here in that potential DC collaboration. I'm just disappointed, to be honest, in the show. And in Oreos for not taking it.
Martian Manhunter could be the perfect spokesperson for Oreos if they do it just right.
Do you know how long I've been waiting for a Martian Manhunter themed Oreo?
Oh, it could be green on the inside.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, blue and green. That'd be really cool.
Amazing.
Yeah, you make the cookie blue, and you make the filling green, and then you stamp a little Martian Manhunter face on it.
Nice, and then
there you go.
DC logo on it because it's the Oreo pattern is the ring and then it says Oreo on the inside. So it's the ring and then it says DC on it.
Genius.
Right? Genius. I've been waiting for that my whole life.
And then can the cookie shapeshift into other cookies? Can it become like a Chips Ahoy or, a Nutter Butter or something?
Well, now you're just getting unrealistic here, Joel. Come on.
But the cookie is also terrified of fire, as all cookies would be terrified of.
Yes, it mutates when it comes in contact with fire.
Joel. Cookies are forged in ovens. They do not fear.
They do not fear the flame.
Cookies do not fear the flame. They are born into it. Forged.
Oh, yes. And from there, we're moving on to The Flash, Season 3, Episode 12, Untouchable. And I got to say, I enjoyed the episode, but overall, I couldn't escape the feeling that this episode felt very much like a first season episode. Wouldn't you agree, Matt?
Oh yeah, definitely. The villain, just the overall plot with the woman Joe is dating and her family coming into town and everything, that all felt like a season 1 plot.
Yeah, I don't know why. Again, it's funny too. You can tell that they've brought up a lot of the marquee Flash villains so far, but now here at the latter part of season 3, I'm not going to say they're scraping the bottom of the barrel, but they're definitely having to go outside the box. We had Plunder a couple episodes back, and here we have Clive. I don't even remember his last name because his supervillain name is his real name. He's just a dude who's got a death grip and can poison you, and that's about it.
Yeah, they're getting to the end. They've had all the flashes, the reverse flashes, the Captain Colds, the Mirror Masters. So we're starting to get to the D-list villains.
Now, like I said, not a bad episode. The bulk of this episode kind of involves, Barry trying to teach Wally to be faster, and, he'll never get faster if he doesn't master the phase shift ability.
Yeah, the ability that Flash has and was one of his best abilities that he sometimes forgets he has.
At the most important moments, like when he was chasing Plunder in the previous episode, it's like, dude, you can run through walls, right?
Something he does exactly at the start of this episode.
He does. I was thinking there, I'm like, where has this power been the last 2 weeks when it would have been the most useful? It was definitely one of those episodes. We get a lot of more movement from Julian Malfoy, and yes, I will continue to call him Julian Malfoy. I don't care what his last name is. Him and Caitlin have to work closer together to cure the poisoner's crimes and everything. They kind of tease that they might be trying to ship these two, that they might be trying to get them into a bit of a relationship. There's a considerable amount of workplace sexual tension around them.
There certainly is.
It kind of makes sense, though, that this would seem like a season 1 episode or an intro episode, just because we're at season 3, which is usually when TV shows get a lot of momentum.
It's true.
But it's also when they start wanting to pull in a newer audience.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, honestly, after a break in season 3, strategy-wise, this makes perfect sense for a season 1 style episode that people can just jump onto.
Yeah, definitely. And, it's funny, like romantic love triangles and everything, and just romance plots in general used to be huge for the Flash in the first season,
Yeah.
but now that everyone's kind of together and is coupled off and everything, that's cooled off, and I wonder if they're like, ooh, we need to do more of this, because they're teasing a relationship between Caitlin and Julian, which I'm fine with. They do a good job saying, how they deal with a lot of the same issues. They have monsters inside of them that they're trying to tame. That's cool. I like that. Joe, of course, has his relationship with that new woman whose name escapes me, and they even imply that her daughter might have a thing for Kid Flash because she's like a super big Kid Flash fangirl.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's definitely a thing. They do a really cool train stunt this episode, which reminds me very much of the train stunt back in the first Captain Cold episode. Only this time they take it a step further, where to save a train load of people, Barry quite literally has to phase shift an entire train.
Yeah, that was really cool to see, and it's good that he's actually kind of using his powers for really cool stuff like that. Like he's getting smarter with them.
Yeah, definitely.
But at the same time, he forgets he has those powers.
Yeah, I wonder if he'll remember it in the next handful of shows. Again, too, the villain was nothing really to write home about this episode. It was all about just trying to find a way to touch him, thus the name of the episode, Untouchable. But after they've done that, it's like, oh, you're kind of a weakling, like one punch could probably drop you.
Yeah.
And they don't hit him is the funny thing. I'm like, okay, now hit him, now punch him out, now punch him out, now punch him out. Oh, he didn't even punch him out. Come on, not even punching the dude out. But yeah, I mean, that was kind of this episode. It was fine. It just was unremarkable. They do, however, hint about what's going to be coming next week, and that is remarkable because the final little stinger sees the return of Jessie Quick.
Yeah, Jessie Quick. I like Jessie Quick.
I love her so much. I'm so sad they made her go back to her own Earth. I'm like, but she's so cool, though, and her costume is so good.
It is. It is such a good costume.
And she needs help because her father, Harrison Wells, too, or Harry Wells, I know they all have names, has been kidnapped by Gorilla Grodd.
Yeah, and taken to Gorilla City.
Yeah, fucking Gorilla City.
Love Gorilla City. I am so excited that it's getting its heyday in Flash right now.
It's going to be a two-part episode.
And Grodd is such a good villain too.
Yes, he is.
Yes.
Makes me super happy. Almost as happy as when I got to see King Shark in The Flash.
Oh, I know, right?
Well, maybe a little bit happier, but I do like King Shark quite a lot.
The monsters they've pulled off in Flash is amazing. To think we would see
So
Gorilla Grodd and Gorilla City on TV before we ever saw it in any of the movies. And also, too, I'm sure, Team Flash will have to answer for this in the next episode. Gorilla Grodd almost certainly took over Gorilla City because they sent him there.
Oh, definitely.
So
It's
his
their
rampage
fault.
is actually their fault.
Yep.
You done fucked up, Team Flash. Now,
That always seems to happen, though, for certain villains, especially for a villain like Grodd. A lot of it is, well, the humans / the heroes are the ones that cause the problem.
Mm-hmm.
We're just reacting.
And how. I wonder if we're going to get to see Solovar, too, if we're going to get to see Gorilla City, because he was always like the good, heroic sheriff ape who hung out with all the other ones.
That'd be really cool.
I bet we will. I hope we do. That would be.
I hope it's just like in the Justice League cartoon. I hope he has a bandolier and a ray gun, and he introduces himself as chief of security for Gorilla City.
Yes, please. Bandolier and a ray gun.
That's my hope. And you know what? Flash hasn't disappointed me yet in that regard, so I'm sure the next two-part episode will be great. So much to the point I'm willing to forgive Untouchable, which was ultimately a little forgettable in the greater scheme of things.
I feel like they've really studied the animated universe,
Mm-hmm.
the writers of the Flash TV show, because they have a lot of little nods and homages to the AU. I feel like.
And how. Now, moving on from there to a show that I didn't watch, but Caitlin and Matt watched, and that would be Powerless episode 2. I don't know what this is called because I didn't put it down on the list.
So I feel like it's called Dream Team, but I keep thinking of it as
I think it had the word Wayne in it again. The Wayne will lose like the first episode.
Is that the joke?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they're using obscure D-list comic book, I guess, civilian Van Wayne So Van Wayne's only appearance was in the 1960s, and he's
Yep.
a little shit, is what he is. So he's Bruce's very spoiled cousin that Bruce never talks to. And after the shenanigans pulled in the 1960s, I can understand why.
It was a very shenanigan-heavy decade.
Yes, this chicanery will not stand. Shenanigans, sir.
So what was this about?
So the shenanigans that Van Wayne pulled the last time we saw him in the DC universe was he invited pretty much Batman and Robin, Bruce and Dick over to his house to like try and impress them. And I might be a little bit rusty because the last time I read this story was out of the shitty Silver Age comics bin as a kid.
Ooh, nice.
But I think so Van invites them over to his house, and in order to try and impress them, he hires basically these two buff gym rats to impersonate Batman and Robin.
Right.
And has the fake Batman and Robin try to rescue them from some fictitious, dangerous scenario he's contrived.
Uh-huh.
And this causes Bruce and Dick to have to go in and save him for real, because it turned out fake Batman and Robin were really seedy characters.
Oh, you don't say. Don't trust
Yeah.
gym rats, everyone.
Don't those dangerous gym rats, y'all.
Have you not seen Pain and Gain? I saw that one.
Yeah, they're horrible people.
Have you not played the game Douche on Steam?
I have not.
You haven't?
haven't
That
either.
game is all about disreputable gym rats.
I learned something here today.
The whole game. Okay, so the game is called Douche. I'm sorry, it's a little bit of a tangent, but there's no point to it, so I promise. But the game is you pretty much just work out and get really buff until you can get girls to sleep with you.
Well, hot damn.
And you have to steal money from your family so that you can support your steroid and shopping habit. And you have to do things like get a fake tan and get a tramp stamp and a really shitty tribal tattoo.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually you get an accent.
So Powerless, eh? How about that show?
So Powerless.
It's probably been
I-
the longest preamble we've ever done for anything.
But that's because the game Douche is so much better than Powerless.
That's fair.
It's
A lot
true.
of people would agree.
But I tell you what this show did have, and it's a better scenario for a TV show than Powerless is. In the show they have a superhero fantasy league.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it's called The Brightest Day, I think.
Oh, wow.
I want that to be a thing.
And I'm sitting there watching the show and I'm thinking, why isn't that a show? Like, just get something that's like The League, but make it about superheroes.
Yeah.
Because they wanted to do Better Off Ted and make it about superheroes. They didn't have the same writers. They couldn't get Danny Glover to partner with Abed here. You know, it was just the beat. It's a B team copy of a show with superheroes, and they're having a lot of trouble making it their own.
Yeah, pretty much. They just took your standard workplace sitcom and put it through the superhero name generator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what it feels like. And it really stinks because the jokes are, as somebody who has to write jokes a lot and has done so for money.
Yes, you're a comedian. For people who didn't know that, that's Caitlin's thing when she's not talking about comics. She is a comedian.
I get hired to make people laugh or throw things at me. Either way, it goes through two extremes. But it's one of those things where I understand how hard it is to write jokes, but because of what the jokes are and with how flat they're falling, it makes me feel like they have a team of writers that don't understand their source material, so they don't understand the DC universe. They don't understand where they're coming from.
Because they're not paid to understand like we are.
Yeah, because they're not paid to understand, or they just don't have the passion for it. And then on top of that, they're trying to copy formulas for things that are very outside of comics.
Mm-hmm.
Like this premise, pitching this premise to a studio of course they would buy this premise. This concept is really good. What about we make a sitcom of everybody else who lives in the DC universe that has to deal with superhero shenanigans all the time? And we'll have it take place in Charm City, which is right next to Bloodhaven and slightly worse.
Yeah.
You know? So, like, you know, and that sounds like a really, really good show. And they're like, and we'll do it in the same formula as The Office, except we'll make Michael Scott a girl, and we'll make her sound competent, but not really competent. And then we'll, you know, give it a Better Off Ted vibe with the, you know, people who are too smart to be here, you know, the mad scientists and the insane geniuses that are straitjacketed by corporate America type of thing.
Did Dream Team have a plot, or was this just like more shenanigans? Because I know episode 1 very much had a through line of, oh, we need to build the invention or else we're all going to get fired.
That's pretty much what this episode is.
Oh, is it really? So we're on episode 2 and we're basically just doing the same plot again. They need to build an invention to not get fired.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is.
Oh, that's unfortunate. That's sad.
It sucks. I really like Van Wayne. Like, in the first episode, Van Wayne was kind of selling me on the show.
Well, you love the actor is the thing. How can you not?
I think that's what I'm running into. I like the concept of Van Wayne and of fleshing him out as Bruce's spoiled cousin that Bruce really hates, and that's why we haven't seen him in the comics since the 60s. I love that idea, but they're not... I don't know, like, there's so much good superhero material here that they could be using and joking on, but they're not using it. They're relying on cliches. We're in episode 2, and they're still relying on shitty sight gags and cliches. It's just bad.
Didn't you say something, Matt, about Yetis in this episode? I know you were complaining on Twitter, and I thought you had a good bit.
Yeah. One of Van Wayne's, like, exploits is that he's looking for the Yeti. Like, it's supposed to be a joke, and it goes on for way too long. And I just said, like, why, you're in the DC universe, why are you looking for Yetis? They literally exist. Aquaman fought one recently in a comic.
He did.
Yeah. They don't know the source material. They think
exactly.
They're like, let's make Van Wayne a crackpot that's looking for, you know, magical creatures and pretty much just wants to find Bigfoot. But they forgot that this is a comic book universe and a lot of those things already exist.
Yeah, where we have robots and spacemen and alternate dimensions. It's hard to be a crackpot in the DC universe.
Like, I feel like the intro to this show was written by a nerd. Yeah, it's the best part, because I feel like it was written by somebody who understood the universe.
It's a genius opening credit sequence.
Oh yeah, it's excellent. And then it just falls apart like crusty dog shit.
I was reading the comments section of the last episode when Matt and I talked about the premiere, and the comments section was all pretty unanimous in saying, like, you know, is Powerless a good show? No. Does it have the chance to be a good show down the line? Yeah, maybe, if it makes it that long.
I don't think... I mean, unless their writers start actually reading, I don't think so.
Well, that's the thing. I think it will go on for a long time because people like that type of just low comedy. I mean, look at Big Bang Theory. What's that? That's like season 10 or 11 or something.
Actors get paid $1 million an episode.
Big Bang Theory, though, here's the thing. Big Bang Theory is not everybody's cup of tea, but it is still well written. Like, when you zoom out from your personal preferences,
which is hard for me to do.
Which is hard. But when you zoom out from your preferences, you can understand, okay, Big Bang Theory is not marketed to an actual nerd. It's not marketed to a science nerd.
No.
It's not marketed to a comic book nerd. It's marketed to regular people that enjoy the concept of nerds.
Exactly.
That's who it is. It's, the everyday person that wants a glimpse into a nerd's life.
Right.
Just like Friends is an everyday glimpse into looking into the life of somebody that has friends.
Yeah. A bunch of New York dickbags, I agree.
It's one of those things. And it's still well written. for what it is. The jokes are still well written. It's not too lowbrow that it's unwatchable. Some of the jokes are actually quite clever. There are silly catchphrases and stupidity and shenanigans going on, but there are still good plots and good jokes written in and out.
And the
but
actors
it's not going
get
to be
paid
for
$1
everyone.
million an episode. $1 million an episode.
And there's
That's
a
insane.
reason. But the thing here is with this show, with Powerless was very much marketed to comic book fans.
Yeah.
Um,
They got a bunch of like nerd icon characters in there. Like, you know, they got a former Firefly cast member. They got freaking Abed
Yeah.
from Community. They got even Ron Funches all throw in there.
Yeah, and they're using like some of these premises, like using Van Wayne, and he's not a made-up character. He actually does exist in the comic, and it's such an obscure reference, but they put him in there. Yeah, and the opening credit sequence. Yeah, this is marketed to people who've, at the bare minimum, seen the movies.
Yeah, it's true.
It's still marketed to our demographic.
I can't believe we managed to talk this long about Powerless.
It happened last week as well.
It's true. It was the most we talked about on that episode. You're right, Matt.
Because Powerless makes me mad.
I guess. So what you're saying is episode 2, not great. Is it better or worse than episode 1?
Worse.
Oh, it's exactly the same. So,
Oh wow! Oh wow!
I say it's worse because it didn't have that killer intro.
Yeah. Moving on.
Because it.
Oh really?
Okay,
They didn't have it.
Just really, really quick. Just really quick.
Yeah.
Just the last thing.
Yeah.
Even if it was marketed to the Big Bang Theory audience, it would still suck. They would like it because the jokes are not well written. They're just super, super, super lazy. Everybody who knows me from the Weekly Poll and my channel knows that my standards aren't high. I'm not one of those pretentious comedians that's like, oh, yes, George Carlin is my joke idol and I can be incredibly intelligent and witty and philosophical in my humor just like him. I'm like, no, I will make fart noises on stage if it will make people laugh, okay? My bar isn't that high. This I hated.
Wow. And that's coming from a professional comedian, everyone. This isn't just me and Matt, you know, saying shit like we did last week. This is someone who actually gets paid for the funny.
I don't like it.
There you go. So I guess you're all pretty unanimous on that one. Now, moving on to something a lot more interesting than Powerless, something that I did not know how to feel about it when this was announced, and I gotta say, after seeing it, I was so wonderfully proved wrong, and that is Legion, Episode 1, Season 1, and the episode title is Chapter 1. Yes, that's right. Legion apparently isn't going to have episode titles. They're all going to be chapters.
it's too good for episode names.
Yeah, it's too good for episode names, man. And you know what? Honestly, yeah, I kind of liked this first episode. I did not expect what this show was laying down. Did you, Matt?
No, I didn't. I did not expect it. It was definitely something I'm really interested in, though. Completely watching it all through up until like the last 10 minutes, I was wondering to myself, who is this aimed at? Like, what audience is this aimed at?
Absolutely. Because, like,
I feel like it's aimed at the Moon Knight audience.
oh god, yes, man.
How accurate is that?
It is. Oh my god, like, you could seriously, you could take Legion out of this, you could take David out of this and be like, oh yeah, it's all about Mark Spector, and I'd be like, yeah, finally, a great Moon Knight show.
See, that's what I was thinking. I'm like, oh my god, it's Moon Knight, but then I got mad that it wasn't Spectre. I was like, no, my Moon Knight show doesn't have Moon Knight in it.
Friggin' David Waller, man, who of course all comic fans will know is the illegitimate child of Charles Xavier. His name is Legion in the comics. He's got about a gajillion different personalities, and as we join him, he is locked up in a mental institution, and we spend about an hour, that's uncut because this is an FX show, we don't deal with that many commercials. We spend basically the entirety not knowing what is real and what is a dream.
Yeah, it was definitely very, very weird.
Oh, this is a mindfuck of a first episode. This is going to try and be artsy, you know, trying to blow your mind. There's a ton of color theory in the show.
Oh god, yeah.
There's a ton
As a someone who's in film, seeing all that, it was amazing.
Matt, do you read Moon Knight?
I read the first little part of the most recent run, but I haven't read a lot of it.
You gotta keep up with it, because if your phantasmanism, if the way you get it going on is through color theory, then later down the line, Moon Knight is absolutely going to be your jam, because it gets psychedelic
Excellent.
and color theory AF.
Awesome.
But yeah, I mean, it's so funny. Like, you watch the first 30 minutes of Legion, they never mention the word powers, they never mention the word mutant, and then right at that 30-minute mark, they bring in, like, the whole secret society, secret police forces, and he might be the most powerful mutant of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you were to show someone this and just say it's an X-Men show, they'd probably be like, no, it's not.
Yeah, they'd have no idea.
Where's all the mutants?
And I think that's both a strength and a weakness for it, but, when they do eventually start kicking the X-Men stuff, when they drop who the potential villain of this show might be, my jaw legit hit the ground, and I'm like, no, they're not going there. Oh my god, they're going there.
Goddamn Mojo.
Mojo, man. Hey, here's the thing. I had to rewatch the last, 15 minutes of it, because, hilariously, in a show that's filled with dream-like sequences, I actually ended up falling asleep and thinking I dreamed the ending of the show. If you pause the last couple minutes, in there, Mojo is literally standing in the background.
Yeah. You actually see him a couple of times through the episode, and he looks pretty much like his comic counterpart, I guess.
We also see a bunch of stuff with TV screens. That's like a recurring theme throughout the first episode, and that makes sense, because if you know anything about Mojo, he's like the big interdimensional TV mogul.
Yep.
He is. He is really messed up looking, too.
God, yeah, he is. Can I also share a little love to my Hollywood crush, Aubrey Plaza, who kills it here in this first episode, too? Playing a crazy person, but like a more believable crazy person than she's played in other things.
What part of David's psyche do you think she is? Like, what part is she?
That's an excellent question. Well, I mean, we do see her at one point standing in overalls talking about grabbing titties, so I don't know. Maybe the id, maybe the ego, maybe the super ego. All I know is she's great. Aubrey Plaza in this show gets a 10 out of 10 for me, even though they kind of maybe imply that she's not coming back because she might be dead, she might be a ghost, or she might just be in his head. I don't know. That's the kind of show this is.
Well, that's the thing. I think everything in this, like all the people he interacts with, are like one of his many identities that he has in his head. Yeah, and I think everything is in his head up until that last part where they break him out in that really cool scene.
Very cool scene. Very almost movie quality, right? Like you could see the movie doing that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I mean, Legion was not expecting this one to kind of blow me away the way it was. From this was a show that I had zero interest in, to I was seeing everyone tweet about it and lose their minds about it, to now me being like, okay, I'm in. You got me for the season, Legion. Let's see what you can do.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be really cool to see what they end up doing with this character. Though I can't just keep shaking the feeling that, why did they choose Legion?
Yeah, out of all the X-Men characters and all the teams and everything else, why Legion? I guess they felt the mind-bending nature of him, that they could go all Twin Peaks with him and make kind of like a messed-up TV show.
Here's my theory. They wanted to make a Moon Knight TV show, but nobody knows who Moon Knight is. So they picked Legion because it has a tie-in to X-Men.
Yeah.
So it does that really nice thing where it can cross over from the movies when Marvel gets those movies back.
Yeah.
It makes a really, really nice tie-in to the movies into the television show, which makes that nice little streamlined continuity right there once they get those rights back and they can start making those movies again. Because this is owned by Marvel, right? This is owned by Marvel, right?
It's a co-production.
Marvel allowed Fox to do it on TV or something.
Yeah, Fox had to ask for permission to do it because Marvel still technically owns the TV rights to anything X-Men related, but this is the X-Men and Fox people doing it, which is why it's on FX.
So that actually makes a lot of sense, because it sounds like they did want to do a Moon Knight TV show. Nobody knows who Moon Knight is. X-Men creates a nice cross continuity with any future movies, which would explain why Fox was allowed to make this with Marvel's permission.
Mm.
And also, you can use all of the logos and all of the symbols for X-Men and attach it to the TV show so that when people see it, they'll be like, oh, this must be an X-Men thing.
Well, really, the only X-Men logo we get is the X inside Legion. If it wasn't for that and them dropping the word mutant.
And that's all you need.
I guess that's all you need. We got this Legion show, and then there's another unnamed X-Men show coming out down the line where they've cast people for it, but we have no idea what it's going to be about.
Yeah.
Interesting. It's an interesting time for X-Men on television. What blows me away is that it took us this long to get the X-Men on television. I mean, yeah, I know you had those other, like, Pride of the X-Men shows and all those other, like, Generation X's that never got off the ground. But I'm talking like a show like this where they actually put, a lot of time and money into it.
Yeah, definitely. I'm surprised that it's taken them this long. Yeah. I guess like now's the perfect time as well with the whole comic book movie bubble and everything being around and people wanting to see that. And you can basically create movies on TV now with all the stuff you can do.
But yeah, I mean, overall, Legion, pretty cool, I would say. I would give this one a recommendation. And I guess, hey, Matt, because you and I keep doing this show, should we throw Legion into the rotation now?
I think so. I think we're definitely going to be watching it. So.
Yeah. To the rotation it goes then.
If you like Black Mirror and superheroes, well, boy, do we have a show for you.
That's a pretty good way to put it, actually. If your superhero shows aren't mind-bendy enough and mind-fucky enough, boy, do we have a show for you. Any parting thoughts, then, before we move on to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Good episode. I really liked it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Caitlin, any parting thoughts, or are you good?
It was really good.
It was really enjoyable, I agree. Now, next up we have Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 4, Episode 13, Boom. And so named because there was a lot of explosions in this episode.
Because it was directed by Michael Bay.
It was da bomb. Although I say it was da bomb, but in the end I just thought it was okay. I don't think this one was as good as the previous two Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. episode that preceded it, but it was all right.
Yeah, it was okay. We focused on that new Inhuman that we saw from the last episode. That guy who's been running around as the Watchdog's, I guess, commander or leader or something.
He seemed to be the highest ranking watchdog.
Yeah, and he's an Inhumans, the thing he hates.
Yeah, I love that trope and stuff when the racist or the xenophobe becomes the thing they hate most. And it's funny because he's trying to out Senator Nadir and be like, oh, well, your brother was an Inhuman, which means you might be an Inhuman too. Ah, crap, I'm an Inhuman. Oh, man. Which means that his Russian buddies don't love him no more.
No, I love that Russian bad guy. He's so cool.
Yeah, he came late in the season, but I gotta say he's one of the more interesting and compelling villains to come out of S.H.I.E.L.D. He just looks smarmy and scary, doesn't he?
He does, yeah.
What was his name? Ivan Ivanov or something like that. It's like a total Boris Badenov villain name too. They've given him.
Yeah.
He's that bad Russian guy. I'm surprised they dealt with Senator Nadir the way they did. I assumed she was going to be sticking around for the rest of the show, but nope.
Nah, just blow her up.
Just gone with her. Patriot gets a lot more focus in this episode. They're doing that classic thing of like, oh, you can't take your super soldier serum anymore because if you do, it's going to end up killing you. Your body's rejecting it. So now he kind of has to find what his new position is going to be at S.H.I.E.L.D. now that he's not really the director anymore, now that he can't be the muscle of the team. And he keeps dropping all these football metaphors all over the episode.
Well, he's probably used to play in high school and, it's one thing he's been able to do right without fucking up.
Jeffrey Mace, All-American, at your service. Where do you want me, coach? We also get to see the woman who serves as, like, the basis for Ida.
Yeah, an Australian woman.
Yeah, what did you think of that, Matt? Did you enjoy that for a change? Where it's like, yay, one of my people working.
I did, but the thing is, the actress I don't think is Australian, so she puts on an accent, and whenever people put on an Australian accent, it's always more than it should be.
Same with the Canadian accent. They really get into it there, eh?
Yep.
It's like, come on, man, we're not all like that. You can drop it down just a little notch there. Yeah, we learn about her and her relationship with Radcliffe. Man, Radcliffe has become an interesting and complicated character this season. He's doing evil things, but you don't know how much is him doing it and how much is, like, the Darkhold messing with his mind. We don't know if, he has good intentions at the end of this, if he's, like, doing bad things to do good, or if he's just become so selfish now. He also created the Matrix this episode.
He did the literal Matrix. He's like mapped the whole world and just thrown May into it.
He has become the ultimate comic book mad scientist. Like, yeah, I can do it all. I can create robots. I can help making human monsters. I can create the Matrix. There's just nothing he can't do, and he really has become so fascinating. I'm like, man, I hope you live till the end of this season, buddy, because I really hope you come back.
Well, remember last week we were pitching the idea that if he dies, he can still come back because of that LMD that Fitz has.
Yeah, they can reprogram him to be good Radcliffe.
Yeah.
And you can be a robot and everything. Did anything else really happen this episode? I mean, I guess we got a cool showdown between Quake and this exploding Inhuman, who I love because she could just vibrate his molecule. She just kept blowing him up over and over again, trying to tire him out.
Yeah, until Fitz and Simmons could get that Ghostbusters trap to work.
I loved that they spent the whole episode basically building a Ghostbuster trap.
That was great. And Jeffrey Mace got kidnapped at the end.
Yes.
What's really interesting is that those bad guys, the Watchdogs, still think he's an Inhuman.
Yeah, it's true. They do. Love Mace's costume too, don't you?
Oh, it looks so good.
I hope he wears it more often. I like Fitz is like, oh yeah, I totally outfitted it now so it gives you your super soldier serum while you wear it so you can still fake having powers.
Yeah.
It's a nice touch. So yeah, I mean, that was Boom. Much like Flash this week, it was alright, but we've had better episodes this season.
Yeah, definitely.
And from there, we move on to something that we haven't talked on the show ever. It's its first time showing up on Cape TV, but it's something I know fans have been demanding from me because I used to review the show over on my other channel, and it's something I know Caitlin is knowledgeable about, so she's kind of going to be the ringer on this one. We get to talk about Steven Universe. Are you excited, Caitlin?
Yeah!
This, I guess the big bulk of episodes we should talk about is the ones that got leaked out earlier, but just finished up their run right now. It's funny, Steven Universe episodes get leaked so frequently now. Matt Burnett, one of the writers on Twitter, he's not even mad anymore. He's like, hey, I hope people enjoy these new episodes.
I know, I'm wondering how they're getting leaked or if it's not just all on purpose.
Well, here's the thing. We actually do know how this last bomb of Steven episodes came out, because that's what they do for Steven Universe. For those who have never heard of it before, they release them in bombs, so they'll release like one new one every day for like a week. Basically, some friggin' intern at Cartoon Network hit the wrong button and they all showed up on the website.
Oh!
Yeah.
Those damn interns.
Frickin' interns, man. Maybe if we paid them a little more. Man, Cape TV needs an intern. Wouldn't you agree, Matt?
Yes, they do.
The problem is that they hire these inexperienced kids, make them do work that's really, really important, and then don't pay them anything. I'm like, just to hire somebody that's competent and this kind of shit won't happen, with a real job title and a salary.
Yeah. So,
damn
yeah.
Ship cycle.
Yeah, for real.
Damn you, America.
But Matt and I wouldn't know about that.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I was wondering why I wasn't getting more of a vehement reaction from you. I realized you guys live in different countries that don't have the same problem that we do.
Nah, internship's still a thing here. I imagine internship's still a thing in Australia, just maybe not as bad.
It's gotten to a pathological point in the States where people are kind of like, internship position available, much have a bachelor's degree, 2 years experience. This will look really good in your portfolio. We want you to do about a week's worth of coding and development work. And I'm like, that sounds like a real job.
Yeah, it sounds like you should be paying me real money for that.
Yep.
But these Steven Universe episodes, this is essentially part of what I guess will eventually go down as being called the Zoo arc, because what this essentially is that Steven and his father end up going to Pink Diamond's human zoo. She had a whole zoo for captured humans.
turned out Pink Diamond had the same thing that Rose had, an affinity for humans.
Yeah, although where Rose genuinely seemed to love and respect humanity because she lived amongst them, Pink Diamond's thing was more of like a nerd collecting comic books, like I must keep you safe in cellophane in a way so you never degrade in value.
I have a feeling Pink Diamond is going to be not only someone I relate to a lot, but also a cosplay goal of mine.
Yeah.
I've really, really been enjoying the Zoo arc because we haven't gotten much experience or exposure to Homeworld.
It's true.
We've heard about it a lot. We've seen little glimpses here and there, but this is the first time we've really gotten a chance to touch it.
Yeah, it's the closest we've actually seen to how gems react in their own environment. Oh boy, do they have a rigid class system.
Oh man, that class system, those social hierarchies, man. We got to see it a little bit with the Ruby Sapphire arc, and we got to kind of explore them because they are Homeworld gems and a bit more recent than Pearl or and not quite as new as Amethyst. And Pearl does not talk about her Homeworld experiences, which is something I've noticed.
It's a sore subject for her, and in fact, when they had to kind of play their roles to sneak into the Zoo station, they kind of had to fall back into those social roles of being like, okay, you're the servant, you're the muscle, and you're the what would you call Sapphire? I guess like an aristocrat. I guess
she's an aristocrat class gem
because she's a rarer gem. Yeah,
she's a rarer gem, and sapphires have the power of clairvoyancy. So,
which you got to imagine is pretty good for how this society that, as far as we can tell, are these amazing conquerors claiming planets for raw resources. Being able to see the future is probably really helpful.
Super helpful. And something that I found really interesting was in the earlier part of this arc, when they're still in Korea and they first run into Blue Diamond, how gems deal with death and their inability to really cope with it.
Because the gems don't die that often unless they're cracked. Unless if you don't get cracked, you're more or less immortal. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like gems just don't really seem to get shattered hardly at all, let alone a higher ranking gem. So it's kind of interesting seeing Diamond's inability to move on, but not only that, the inability of other gems to actually empathize with her.
So true. We get the big song of this arc, what's the use of feeling blue? We actually get to hear Yellow Diamond sing. And man, does that song tell you everything you need to know about them as characters just in one thing there, where it's like, look, I know you're sad, but put those emotions away.
Yeah, put those emotions away. Don't touch me with them. They're icky.
We are conquerors. We are diamonds, and we should conduct ourselves with a little decorum.
Yeah, I mean, and I like that the reason why Blue Diamond got so attached to Greg was because he was able to empathize with her.
Oh yeah.
And it sort of makes me wonder, maybe that's the reason why Pink Diamond and perhaps maybe Pink's other gems had that affinity to Earth and for human beings.
Right, like they're the empathetic ones. It's funny too, Greg, Greg is a great character. I love Greg in the show because he basically represents the best of humanity. And he tries comforting Blue Diamond by being like, I know what it's like to lose someone. That pain never really goes away. But knowing what we know as the audience, being like, ooh, he's talking about Rose, but Rose killed Pink Diamond.
I know. I was sitting there oh, this is awkward.
And he doesn't know that, I'm sure, and she didn't know that, so it was amazing to see these two people connect over their grief. But if they knew the whole story...
Oh, well, you know what the thing is? I don't think anybody knows the whole story. Because it's with Steven's empathetic response to Blue, and the tears, the Ghibli tears that he's crying, that just automatically come down. And Steven goes, "Oh my God, that's not me feeling sad. That's Rose. That's my mom, who's crying." And that response towards going to, I guess, Pink Diamond's shrine and Pink Diamond's catamaran thing.
It is a catamaran.
It is a catamaran, right?
Her pimped out ride.
Her pimped out catamaran. I don't think we all know. Nobody knows the whole story.
Yeah, that's
It's
clearly a big driving point of this, of the series in general, where it's like, what was the mystery here?
I'm suspecting there is a Jesus Christ Superstar Judas Iscariot thing kind of going on, where Pink Diamond becomes incredibly attached to Earth, but she knows that she won't be able to save it. She knows that up against her two sisters, she would not be able to save Earth.
Oh, I like that. I like that a lot, especially because I just watched Jesus Christ Superstar the other night.
Right. So I think maybe Pink Diamond asks Rose to do her in.
You gotta kill me for the good of everyone.
Yeah. I'm wondering if there wasn't a situation like that going on that leading up to Pink Diamond's death.
It was beautiful, but now it's sour. It's all gone sour.
Yep. I can't help it. That's like what my gut's telling me. Because otherwise, if Rose really did kill her in cold blood, or even just because she had to do it for everyone else, would she still be crying? Yeah. Would she not have ever been able to make her peace with that?
That's true. We also learn another big thing this episode because we get to see so many more gems. And it's like, hey, how come we never saw another rose quartz, but we see multiples of everyone? Oh, all the rose quartz have been bubbled. That's why.
All of Pink Diamond's gems have been bubbled.
Wow. And of course, Yellow Diamond's like, hey, I'm the more war-minded of all the diamonds, it would seem. If we unbubbled them, we could probably take over Earth. We could probably take over everywhere if we just unbubbled all of these.
I'm also kind of wondering, is the reason why Blue Diamond is totally refusing to really touch any of Pink Diamond's effects, is that because maybe of Pink Diamond's last wishes?
Possibly. That could be a thing. Speaking of multiple gems, too, Amethyst has a fun little B story. Amethyst is my favorite of the crystal gems, and I love you think like, oh man, all these other Amethysts are going to turn on her, right? No, they're actually all really buddy-buddy.
They all have Amethyst's personality type. They're all bro-y. It makes me so happy.
And furthermore, too, you think like, oh, is she the only defect? No, there's multiple defects on the homeworld. It's just they're treated like second-class citizens in this rigid class system. But hey, they exist.
But what's kind of funny, too, is that it seems like, at least at the human zoo, they're kind of free from some of that class rigidity.
Because they're so far away. It's funny, it's like even just being close to humanity, they pick up some humanity-like traits.
Which I think that's just so hilarious. I really like it. And I love, the part in the human zoo, which I totally didn't get, was the last time Gems had to intervene was because the humans got hurt.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like physically one of them got hurt. It was because they emotionally got hurt and went berserk.
Yet again, emotions being a huge theme of this show.
I love that. The only other time, like if they get hurt or sick or something like that, they're able to take care of each other, or robots are able to take care of them. But the one time they get emotionally hurt, which is the whole reason why they have the choosening, because they can't regulate their own emotions.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
The human zoo is a wonderfully Twilight Zonian idea. This whole group of people who have lived taken care of by aliens, but who have never really lived life or suffered or learned any coping mechanisms of any kind.
And when you hit puberty, you basically go through The Bachelor.
Yeah, it's literally the alien Bachelor.
But the host is giving out the roses.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. And hey, too, keeping with them strong LGBT themes of Steven Universe, I choose Greg. Yeah, but I choose Greg too.
I love how they're all in this kind of like weird polyamorous love nest where like they kind of get a partner that's exclusive to them, but not really.
It's a
They all
big
just sort
hippie
of
commune
share.
is what it is, and that's why I think
It's a
Greg
commune,
fit in
yeah.
so well, because he's like, yeah, I'm like a big long-haired musician. I've been to places like this before.
Yeah, Greg is like, oh yeah, the hippie commune. I know these.
Everyone braid your hair and don your unisex robes.
I felt so sad too because at first I thought everyone was going to be fighting over Greg,
Mm-hmm.
but it wasn't that. It was just everyone wanted to love Greg and everybody loved Greg, but Greg didn't love anyone.
Yeah, because
So
Greg
that
is
was
new
really
and
funny.
different.
Yeah, poor and monogamous apparently.
Yeah, go figure, go
Greg,
him.
I know, go figure for Greg.
Yeah, and a widower too, who's still in love with his
It's his
what is it
dead wife.
with his dead wife. Yeah, I wonder if
Poor
the show goes
Greg.
on any longer. Are they eventually going to have to hit that point where it's like, okay, maybe this season Greg should date? What about that?
I don't know. Like I'm still rooting for Pearl. Like both Greg and Pearl need to date.
is
They
that
need
is
to
that your
move on.
ship? Are you launching that ship?
I am launching the biker girl Pearl ship. I'm still on it. We haven't heard anything about it since that episode aired, but I'm still on it.
That's a sweet episode. I love the soundtrack of that episode.
I just man, they're all just such precious little cinnamon buns, and I feel so bad for all of them.
And how, man? That's really the show. You love them, and you feel terrible for all of them.
I imagine if this is what it's like watching children grow up and make mistakes.
Yeah.
Like, I love them so much, but they're constantly getting hurt and crying.
So that's Steven Universe, everyone. There was a new one that aired tonight that I didn't get a chance to see it, but it tells what Lapis, Connie, and Peridot did while they were all away. It was one of those episodes.
I love the Lapis episodes. Like, I know a lot of people don't like Lapis because she's sort of a wet blanket.
She is intentionally the killjoy. She is the blue one.
Yeah, she's the killjoy. But I really like her because I don't necessarily see a killjoy. I see someone going through intense PTSD recovery after being in a really abusive relationship.
Oh yeah, she was a prisoner of war. She was in an abusive relationship. She's the one who had to grow up too fast is the thing.
She's got, like, she's seen some shit.
Oh yeah.
Like, she literally, like, right after being a prisoner of war, she was imprisoned again in basically a terrible relationship.
Yep.
And then her abuser comes back.
And this is a kids show, everyone. We'd like to stress that. This kids show dealing with all these deep, interesting themes. As far as kids are concerned, I'm sure it's like, man, I like the show with the cool alien rock ladies. But then when you actually think about it, you're like, man.
For kids.
Yeah, for kids, guys.
Like, I'm like sitting there, people are like, I don't like Lapis, she's boring and upset. And I'm like, you know what? Lapis has seen some shit, okay? Lapis needs some medication and some EMDR is what Lapis needs, okay?
Lapis is like the nom vet. You weren't there, man.
She is. Dude, whenever she responds with things like really literally, where they're like, geez, Lapis, you don't know what this is? Where have you been? Trapped in a mirror for the last 1,000 years, reliving every horrible experience you could ever imagine. And you're like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. She needs like one of those cut-off Rambo vests and be like, the war's never over.
I need my Lapis Rambo fan art now.
Man.
The next con I go to, that's what I'm commissioning, Lapis Rambo.
It's never over.
It's because she's going to be named Rampus.
You know, there's so much Steven Universe fan art at your standard con. I would be shocked if Lapis Rambo fan art doesn't already exist.
I'm going to Google it. Hang on.
Google
Rambo, the images.
So what we're trying to say overall is that this was a really strong arc of Steven Universe. It's kind of a hard show to review on the basis that we do, because either you get like one episode or like 5 episodes in the span of a week. They really make it difficult to cover.
Well, I Googled Lapis Rambo, and I found Peridot in a diva cosplay.
Uh-huh.
Well, I'll send that to you.
And you can just do with it whatever you want. No judgments, Joel. No judgments at all.
And we know you want it.
You know, gonna tweet that at you right now.
I like Matt returning to his most classic form right here, and that is the I'll be quiet, but I'll also be a joke ninja for whenever it's especially funny. I'll just come out of the shadows.
Come out of the shadows with pithy comments like.
Yep. And on that note, everyone, I guess we can start winding down what ended up being the longest Cape TV we've done so far. We're almost at an hour, if you can believe it.
This happened with Elseworlds Exchange, too. I'm sorry, Joel.
It's all right. It's all right. It happens. It's all good. So thank you, everyone, for listening. We hope you had fun. Thank you so much, Caitlin, for joining us on this one. I know we made a lot of fans very happy to finally talk about Steven Universe, and I've been dying to talk about it with you, too. So it's win-win, really.
Yeah.
Thank you, Matt, as always, for joining us. If you want, you can check down in the comment section below, down in the little description. You can find links to all of our other works, all of our Twitter feeds, and everything else. Thank you so much for listening. Be sure to tell us, too, what was your favorite show that came out this week? What are you really looking forward to next week? And until then, everyone, I've been Cape Joel. Be sure to join us again, same time, same place, next week. Bye-bye, everybody.
Wait, Joel, wait.
Yes?
Can I plug my chancel?
Oh, yeah, I was going to link them anyway, but by all means, plug away.
Yeah, you guys can find me over on the ThatCmonster channel, spelled with the letter C and monster. Thank you, guys.
Hey, Matt, you want to plug something, too?
Everyone knows where I am.
They should by now. So on that note, everyone, we'll end the show for this week. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.